What's going on, everyone? Mitesh here, and today we are going to be comparing these two headphones right here, the Soundcore Liberty 2 Pros and the Liberty 2 Airs. These are some of the most recent earbuds that I've reviewed, and very close to each other in terms of price, sound quality, and some of the features that they have. So I want to see what the real difference between these two are, and whether, if you're considering picking one of these up, which one you should really get for yourself. So let's get into it. Alright, so starting off with a little case comparison. So as you guys can see, these are actually surprisingly the almost exact same size when you consider the dimensions. Now obviously the Liberty 2 Pros have a little bit more of that elongated shape and they're a little bit larger than these, and in my usage I definitely felt like these were much smaller than these were. Like when you put these in your pocket, I barely notice these, whereas sometimes I really do notice these, even though they do fit nicely because of that nice small profile. They do actually fit pretty nicely in your pocket, but you will notice it because of just how large this one is compared to this one. So in terms of case, they're both actually really nice. They both have the same features. They both hold about 3 extra charges for each of them. They both have wireless charging built in. So in a lot of ways, they're very similar, but in terms of size, I would give it to the Liberty Air 2s. I think it just makes a better case. Also, when it comes to opening them, like I love this sliding mechanism on the Liberty 2 Pros, but like this is satisfying. Trust me, this is definitely more satisfying to use than this one is. So in terms of case, I would have to give it the Liberty 2 Airs. But once you get inside, that's when you can deal with the earbuds themselves. And as you can tell, these are very, very different style of earbuds. So here we have like the AirPod style, and here we have, well, the earbud style. So as you can see, they are very, very different, and especially in terms of size and how they're going to look inside of your ears. They do both have the Soundcore logo right there. It's very nice. But in terms of the form factor, it's really going to depend on you which one you prefer, whether you prefer this kind, which personally, in my opinion, these stay in my ears better thanks to this little wing right here, which really helps just keeping these inside of your ears. Whereas these work pretty well inside of your ears, they don't hold as nicely for me as the Liberty 2 Pros do. So that is something to consider. In terms of size, these definitely stick out a little bit more out of your ears, although these have the long stem, so you're going to look like you're wearing something on your ears. In terms of form factor, you really have to decide. I think they're both pretty good in their own right, but if you prefer one over the other, obviously they're very different in terms of form factor, so you'll just have to decide which one you like better. Now in terms of controls, here on the Liberty Air 2 we have touch controls. So this right here is a little touchpad and works really well. You have touch control on there. Over here on the Liberty 2 Pros, we have a little button at the top which does the exact same thing as the touchpad does. Now in my opinion, I definitely prefer the little button. It's just a little bit easier to use. It's small, recessed, and it never gets in your way. I like the touch controls. They work well, but sometimes they just, like I've held these in my hand and I've actually turned them off because I've held onto it for too long. So in that way, I'd actually prefer the button to the touch controls. But in terms of controls, they both have the exact same controls and you can configure them both inside of the app. Now one thing that the Liberty 2 Airs have over the Liberty 2 Pros is the in-ear detection. So you see that little sensor right there, that black dot? That is a sensor that lets them know whether they're inside of your ears or not. So when you take these out of your ears, it actually pauses the music. So that is a really nice feature of the Liberty 2 Airs, whereas over here we have nothing like that, so you have to go ahead and manually pause it, although you can just push this button up top to pause it, so it's really not that bad. There is no single tap action on this versus like these. A single tap on either the left or right one will pause, so that is actually kind of a nice feature of this one as well. So in this, they're pretty much even again. I do like being able to just take one out of my ear and have it pause, but then again, single button tap is actually pretty nice to have. Alright, next up we gotta talk about sound quality. So the sound quality out of both of these is actually surprisingly similar. They both have the same EQ setting, Soundcore signature sound, makes them both sound really good. But I do have to give it to Liberty 2 Pros in terms of sound quality. The bass on these just cannot be matched by these because they have the separate driver just for the bass. The bass on this is just way better, and the highs and mids are just really crisp. They're crisp on both of them, so in terms of like what you're here listening to music, if you want the highs and mids to be clear, crisp, they're good for both. But in terms of bass quality, the Liberty 2 Pros have it. And then finally, I want to talk a little bit about the battery life in between these two. So the battery life is definitely better on the Liberty 2 Pros. It's by about an hour, whereas over here you get about 7 hours per charge. Over here you're getting 8 hours per charge. Now that really isn't that big of a difference to me personally. I don't listen to either of them for that long. If I really need to, it's obviously better to have a slightly bigger battery that you have inside the Liberty 2 Pros, but the 7 hours is definitely no slouch. These are fantastic in terms of battery life. They both are. And like I said, they both have USB-C charging. This one's under a flap, this one's open. They both have this little button that'll put these into pairing mode, which is really nice. And they both have wireless charging. So yeah, if you're asking me which one of these you should get, first thing I would say is it's going to depend on what form factor you want. If you want these AirPod style ones, then the Soundcore Liberty 2 Airs are perfect. If you want something with the best sound quality possible and you don't mind paying a little bit extra, because these are $150 versus the $100 of the Liberty Air 2s, I think these are well worth the price because the sound quality on these, that bass is just so good that I would pay the extra money to get that better sound quality. But it's really going to depend on what you're interested in. But yeah, for $100, I think the Liberty 2 Airs are fantastic pickup. For like what you're getting for $100 in terms of sound quality is just amazing. So you can't go wrong with these. But if you don't like that style and you want a little bit better sound quality and a little bit better battery life, the Liberty 2 Pros are a great option. And if you want to see the full reviews of either of these, you guys can definitely check out the link up here. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Let me know what you guys think of about these two. Are you picking up either one of these, and which one are you guys going with? So let me know down in the comments below. But that's pretty much it for this video. Like this one if you liked it, subscribe if you guys loved it, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye!